Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another special video. And this video is going to be all about Neptune. We're going to discuss Neptune in the birth chart and also transits from Neptune and some of the effects that you might experience by this outer planet. And I like to describe Neptune as being deceivingly difficult because a lot of people think of Neptune as being spiritual and fantastical and romantic and dreamy and all of these wonderful things. It's a compassionate, empathic energy, but it's also very non-physical and non-linear, and it's also a planet that's associated very literally with deception, illusion, delusion, disillusionment, fantasy, being out of touch with reality. And so Neptune can actually pose a lot of problems in a person's chart. And these problems can be very difficult to deal with and sort through in physical reality. It's difficult to figure out exactly what's going on and how to work with that energy because it's so non-physical and so non-linear, and it's very much about the interconnectedness between all things. It's an interdimensional energy. And so we'll get into that. And so this is going to be a part of the series I've been doing, or an intro to Neptune as a part of the series that I've been doing about the outer planets. And so I have a webinar series that's all about the outer planets. We started with Saturn, we just did Uranus, and now I'm moving into the Mastering Neptune webinar in just a couple of months. We're going to be covering everything you need to know about Neptune. And if you want to purchase the series, it's going to be 18 to 24 hours total of webinars and information and additional supplemental materials on Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And actually the Jupiter webinar is a free webinar that's only going to be included as a bonus gift to those who subscribe to the entire series. So the link to access this and to get that Saturn and Uranus right away and to sign up for the live webinars about Neptune, Pluto, and then later Jupiter, that's down in the description below. But back to Neptune. So in this video, I'm going to talk briefly about Neptune and how it impacts us in the birth chart, and then I'm going to move on to just a little bit of information about Neptune in transit to help you guys navigate the energy wherever it shows up for you. And so Neptune in the birth chart. So what Neptune represents in the birth chart, or the area that's impacted by Neptune in the birth chart, is typically an area where there can be a lot of confusion. Neptune is a planet that dissolves everything it touches. It brings this energy of liquidating certain physical things in the chart, and so it can make physical reality very difficult to deal with. It can make it so you're very confused, or you get caught up in other people's energies, and you end up being deceived or deceiving yourself, or being led to do things that you wouldn't normally do because maybe you're picking up on somebody's excitement about something. The area where Neptune falls in the houses represents an area where things can be very easily dissolved, where there's a lot of confusion, where there's a lot of difficulty in dealing with the physical aspects of that area of the chart based on what that house represents. An example of this would be Neptune in the second house. Neptune in the second house usually indicates that that person has a difficult time holding on to resources and understanding resources. It's like money just slips right through their fingertips. They don't understand where it went. They have a difficult time grasping the concept of money and budgeting and those types of things. However, Neptune, where it shows up in the chart, is also an area where you can very easily manifest things without even really trying. It's like you need something and it sort of flows in, like the stars align and something goes on in the ethers, and the money comes in if it's in your second house. So it flows in when you need it, but when you don't really truly need it, it just kind of dissolves and flows away. And that's often the case with Neptune in any of the houses. I'm just using the second house as an example. It brings this energy where it dissolves things, it makes things very foggy, very confusing, very hard to pin down. And so it can be hard to pin down where your resources are going or why you're having so much trouble with your budget. It can be hard to understand the concept of money with Neptune in the second house. And this holds true for Neptune in all of the houses. It brings difficulty, disillusionment, and that energy of that sort of dissolving of that area of the chart. On the other hand, it brings a lot of compassion. It's the planet that's associated with wanting to give back, with feeling very compassionate, very empathic, caring a lot about the needs of other people because you feel deeply connected to others. And so Neptune in the second house could also indicate somebody who's very charitable and very compassionate, somebody who gives their money freely to those who are in need. And so there is that energy as well. Neptune also shows us an area where we have to look at things more energetically and spiritually. There's a sense of mysticism around the energy of Neptune. And continuing with that example, Neptune being in the second house could indicate having a spiritual connection to your resources, or only holding on to material possessions that have a deeper value, or maybe not holding on to your material possessions at all because you feel like you don't need them and you want to give back and liquidate everything and turn it into something a little bit different and utilize it in that way. This could also indicate an area where you have a strong intuition about things. So it's an area where your psychic capabilities are increased in a lot of different ways. And so that Neptune energy it's confusing. It's difficult to deal with. It does bring difficulties in terms of physical manifestation and physical reality, where you feel like you don't know, you're not necessarily controlling what's going on in that area of life, and it can be very difficult to navigate. Also with Neptune in the birth chart, when it comes into contact with certain planets, Neptune is associated with a lot of physiological problems, especially when you're looking at it in terms of medical astrology. Neptune in certain alignments can indicate issues with drugs, alcohol, escapism. It can indicate issues with health. It can especially indicate issues involving allergies or autoimmune conditions. It can indicate issues involving chronic, mysterious types of illnesses that are really difficult to diagnose. And this is something I have a lot of experience with, and so we're going to discuss this way more in depth in the webinar all about Neptune, which will be on November 16th. And then moving on to Neptune transits. So Neptune in the birth chart can bring a lot of issues, but it can also bring a lot of positive energy. It's an area where you're more compassionate, where you feel more deeply for others. It's an area where there's a sense of mysticism or spirituality. It's an area where your sensitivities are enhanced. By transit, there's a similar thing going on, except it's more temporary. The transits from Neptune tend to dissolve the boundaries of whatever area of your chart it's impacting. So it dissolves the structures and the boundaries in your chart. It brings this transcendent energy, and it brings a lot of really strange stuff. The main thing Neptune does is it increases your sensitivities to everything around you. And so Neptune transiting your sun or your moon or your ascendant can make you hypersensitive on a physical, emotional, psychological, energetic, or spiritual level. And so you'll find that you're picking up on the energies in your environment way more strongly than you normally would. You'll find that you're picking up on other people's emotions and they're impacting you way more so than they normally would. Those boundaries that you normally have that separates your emotional experience from the emotions of other people, that is going to be dissolved during especially a hard Neptune transit. And that's especially the case with Neptune transits to the moon. This is also an energy where your physical sensitivities increase. And so you might become more physically sensitive to things like toxins and poisons in the environment. That is Neptune. Neptune rules toxins. Neptune rules poisons. And so you might find that you're becoming more sensitive because we live in such a toxic world these days where it's impossible to avoid coming into contact with things that are not good for your body, that are technically poisons. There was even a study that was recently done here in Colorado where like 90% of the rainwater contained microplastics. So literally just being anywhere out in the environment, regardless of where you are at. Even if you're in the middle of the Rocky Mountains out in nature, you're being exposed to these things. And so Neptune increases your sensitivity to those exposures. And so even though your body was already being impacted, and was already having a negative effect, you might not have felt it so overtly. You might not have been as aware of it. And so when Neptune comes around, it shows you what has been already toxic in your life, what you're already sensitive to, but maybe you weren't picking up on. Maybe you weren't sensitive enough to really see it clearly. And so at first it can be very confusing as to what it is that's affecting you. And that's also part of that Neptune energy. So you might find that you're not feeling as good, or you're feeling more anxious or negative in some sort of way. And you realize that eventually throughout that Neptune transit, which lasts 2 to 3 years, so this is a long-term aspect. This is something that really gradually occurs over time. You'll find that you're becoming more sensitive, and you might realize that certain foods or certain chemicals that you're using, certain medications you're taking, are affecting you in a more detrimental way than what you would have originally thought. You might find that when you connect with certain people, when you go to work and you sit next to your coworker, that you feel really negative and really tense and really dark. And it could be because that person has that negativity, has that energy. They're maybe in a really bad mood, or just in general, they're very like surly and negative or whatever. And you're finally picking up on that, and you're realizing, oh my goodness, their energy just being next to them is impacting me. It was already impacting you, but you might not have been aware of it because your sensitivities weren't as strong as they are during the Neptune transits. And so it's really important to understand this, because when you have these Neptune transits, it's important to pay attention to these things. At first, again, it'll be really confusing because you're picking up on everything from everywhere, and it can cause this free-floating sense of anxiety because you're picking up on all these different energies and experiences that maybe are not even related to you. And it can be very difficult to figure out where that's coming from. And I actually have a good example of this from a recent Neptune transit that I had. And I have a lot of weird stuff that happened as a result of that Neptune transit. But one of the things that was really interesting to me was so I've had Neptune opposing my sun. It's no longer exact. And it was in a conjunction with my north node, because I have the south node conjunct my sun, the north node in opposition. So Neptune in Pisces is opposing my Virgo sun. And as a Virgo, that's not the easiest thing to deal with, because Virgos are very physical, practical, logical, linear, and things were occurring that didn't make any logical sense to me, and it was very confusing and difficult to navigate. And one of those things was this experience where all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I would get this like non-situational, generalized, free-floating sense that not necessarily full-on anxiety, but like something was amiss, and there was something ominous in the air. And it was like all of a sudden there was this like doom or dread, like where is this coming from? It didn't seem to be connected to anything that I was experiencing. So at first I was wondering, is this my intuition telling me that something bad is about to happen in my life? And after a couple of times of that experience happening and then nothing happening in my personal life, I realized that that's not the case. So it wasn't connected to my intuition about what was going on in my real life experience. And then, again, it would happen again. I was like, maybe something bad is going to happen to someone around me. Maybe I'm picking up on somebody else's anxiety. What's going on here? And then finally, I started to check in with a friend of mine who's very, very, she sees things very clearly, and she's very perceptive, especially when it comes to what's going on a global sphere. And so I would check in with her and say, are you feeling this energy that I'm feeling? And she would always be feeling it. And within a day or two of us both feeling that energy, there would be a big event that would happen, a big major sort of negative event that would happen, that would be either people dying or some sort of natural disaster. It would be something that would show up in the news cycles really predominantly. And I didn't realize until that point that that sense of dread and that energy I was feeling was me tapping into something that was going on sort of in the ethers on a more global scale. And so once I made that connection, that actually became useful to me. But prior to that, it was very disturbing. It was like, what is happening? Why do I keep having this experience? Like, I feel like something bad is about to happen to me, and then nothing was happening because I was focusing on the way that it would impact my personal life, and it was really more about what was going on a social scale or on a global scale. And that's not something that's normal for me at all. I am, very intuitive, but usually my intuition comes through dreams predominantly, and not through that type of sensation. So moral of the story, it began with something that was very disturbing to me, very disorienting, confusing, didn't feel great, but it led to me really having a stronger intuition and picking up on things that I wouldn't have been able to pick up on otherwise. And understanding through this experience the interconnectedness between all people and all things on this planet. Because if I can feel that something bad's going to happen a couple days before it happens and it doesn't impact me and it's a global sort of experience, then what is this, right? We are obviously connected. And if I have that verified by somebody else, because I'm a Virgo, I need to have that solid proof or that additional verification. If I can verify through somebody else that they're also feeling this and experiencing this, then there's something going on there. And so as woo-woo as that sounds, that is something that occurred during the Neptune opposition to my sun. That's one of many different examples of very weird experiences that I had, but the end result was me really becoming more intuitive and becoming more attuned to these types of things that I normally would not have either picked up on, or maybe if I did pick up on it, it wasn't very strong and I would just ignore it because it didn't make logical sense to me, being a Virgo. And so Neptune can bring these kinds of benefits, but it usually comes about in a way that is a little bit difficult at the beginning because there is that confusion. And especially if you're somebody who wants concrete examples of what's happening, they want it to be rational, they want it to make sense in that way, Neptune can be especially difficult. So if you're somebody who has a lot of earth energy, if you're somebody who has a lot of air energy too, because that's another one. Air signs, they're very mental. They're very logical. It's about the mind, right? It's not practical. It's not logical. It's very beyond that. And so people who have a lot of those energies in their charts, they have a more difficult time navigating Neptune. And so, Neptune is very important. It doesn't get as much attention as I feel like it should in terms of the astrological influences. A lot of people talk about Neptune. It's like, oh, compassion and romanticism and, mysticism. And it gets almost elevated in this spiritual realm that I'm, operating within as an astrologer. And the difficult negative implications of this get kind of skated over, like, yeah, escapism, drugs, alcohol, don't do that. But there are other things. So anyway, that's what I really want to talk about with this webinar, is some of these other things and some of these impacts of Neptune, because Neptune is super weird. I said Uranus was kind of weird and it brings weird, strange, unusual experiences into people's lives. Neptune brings things that are even weirder because they're so against what we're used to in this physical reality for most people, unless you're like some sort of spiritual guru who's like floating in the clouds or something already, in which case you're good with Neptune. All right, so I hope that this video was helpful to you in some way. I will go into this in greater detail in the webinar, so I didn't want to really go through each sign or anything like that, because it just becomes redundant. But hopefully this gives you an idea so you can start putting the pieces together in your own chart and in your own life and prepare and plan for what Neptune is going to bring. And thank you so much for watching this. If you want to register for the upcoming webinar, Mastering Neptune, you can do so down in the link in the description below. It's actually going to be 25% off all the way through to the live webinar, which will be occurring on November 16th at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. And this is part of the Mastering the Outer Planets series. So if you've already registered for the series, you'll be invited to the webinar and you're already going to be there. And there will be a recorded version of this webinar available after the fact. So even if you can't attend live, you can take advantage of the discount and you can get all of the information, and I'll answer your questions via email. So thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye.